Okay, we'll get going. Welcome everyone. This is the December 2015 Eclipse Foundation quarterly member meeting. My name is Andrea Ross. I'm just going to get things going. We have a short agenda today, so I'm just going to say a quick hello, and then I'll pass it over to Mike. Later on, my colleague Wayne will join us and talk about some news for projects. So without any further ado, I'll hand it over to Mike.
Great, thank you, Andrea. Alrighty, so actually some of the slides here, we also have Paul White here with us today, who's our new VP of Member Services, and Paul will be doing some of these slides. I'm sure everybody is tired of hearing my voice all the time, so try to shake things up a little bit. As Andrea said, it's a fairly short agenda today, so but we have some interesting and fun things to talk about. So let's plow through this. So we talk about the membership update, financial updates. Paul will be talking about the FEEP program, the Friends Enabled Eclipse platform enhancements, working group, and then conferences. And so first, membership update. So we're at 246 member companies now, which is definitely a new high water mark for us, and we're obviously very pleased about that. We have currently 12 strategic members, and just so everybody knows, we're going to be announcing another one in January, so pretty happy about that as well. So we're definitely making some progress. Actually, what am I saying? We already did talk about this. At the EclipseCon Europe, Bosch announced that they're going to be joining as a strategic member effective January 1st. So that's actually been discussed publicly already. And 1,284 committers is also a new high water mark for the people who are working on our projects. So we're also pretty excited about that. So we're definitely continuing to grow in new and interesting ways. So just showing this by quarter, you can see the different types of membership. And as would be expected, the bulk of our membership growth is primarily in our solutions membership, which is the bulk of the voting membership for the Eclipse Foundation. So just to talk about a couple of new members since September of 2015 when we last got together. Zend, the company behind PHP, joined as a solutions member, so very happy about them. Oh, I should mention Ansett Consulting from India has rejoined the Eclipse Foundation as well, so welcome Ansett. Goldman Sachs, who I'm sure everybody has heard of, both joined as a solutions member, but also has brought a project proposal for the Eclipse Collections project to Eclipse. So it's great to see Goldman Sachs joining, and this is our first new member in the financial services sector, so something that we're pretty happy about. Siemens, who has been an associate member for many years, upgraded to solutions and is joining the Open MDM working group. Vogela, GmbH, who many people know well, Lars Vogel and his merry band of pirates have joined the Eclipse Foundation, and so we're very happy to have them aboard. And then finally, SensorUp, startup from Calgary, who's active in location tech, has also joined. So welcome everybody, and it's great to have you part of the Eclipse family. Turning now to a financial update. So the big news is on the 2015 topic. So originally our budget was $4.4 million in revenue and $4.8 million of expense. So we've been, that was the budget that we put together and was approved by the board last year. And the numbers that we've been working to, and I'm very happy to relay the news that we've done significantly better than that, and that our revenue is up to $4.7 million, and our expenses came in lower than expected at $4.7 million. So we're at this moment anticipating a break-even year for 2015. So financially, very, very strong year for the Eclipse Foundation, and very happy to come in at a break even. And For those who have been around for a while, that does follow a pattern that we have had for a number of years, where we project a a 400 or 500K loss, but come in better than expected. We didn't do that in 2014, but that was actually the pattern that we saw in 2012 and 2013, where we came in much closer to zero than originally expected. And then now turning to the projection for 2016, we're currently looking at additional growth in revenue around 5.5 million, so a significant bump up from this year, and expenses of 6 million, with a projected loss of $500,000 for 2016. And the important news there is one of the reasons why we're going to be spending more money is we are planning on hiring more staff at the Eclipse Foundation and growing the support for the Eclipse project community and the commercial ecosystem from the Eclipse Foundation. So 2016 is shaping up to be very much a year of growth for the Eclipse Foundation, and something that we're definitely looking forward to. All right, so I'm going to turn this over to Paul and to talk about the Friends of Eclipse update.
Thanks, Mike. Just a quick reminder of what this program is about. We've made a commitment to take the funds that are being generated through the donations made by individuals and using those funds to make improvements to the IDE. So I've just listed here as a reminder that the guiding principles that we have with respect to openness and transparency and so on. But this program we announced in September, and we just went through our first quarterly cycle with it. If you hit the next slide, Mike. So just a very quick update in terms of what we've accomplished over the last 2+ months here. We actually put forward a number of requests for development efforts and received 6 proposals in response to this request for proposals. Of those 6, one of them actually was from a gentleman based out of Europe who said, "Hey, I just want to work on this task, working towards my committer rights." And so he's beavering away on that. Patrick Suzy is his name. So thank you very much, Patrick, for doing that. With respect to the other proposals, we actually moved forward with one and are still evaluating 2 of them to see if we can move forward. We'll publish the details of these once we finalize all of them, but we're pleased with the progress that we've made so far. We're trying to fine-tune the process to make sure that we are able to have the biggest impact as possible with the program, while still fitting within the funds that we have available. So we will have a new list that comes out in Q1 going forward. But overall, that's the status of it as it sits.
Pass this back to Mike.
Yep. Alrighty. All right, so I'm going to do a couple of working group updates. So start off with the IoT working group. So first, 2 new members, both names and companies that everybody will recognize. That's Huawei and Siemens. So welcome to both, and obviously great to see them getting involved in IoT at Eclipse. So we now have 29 members in total for the IoT working group, and it's been one of our fastest growing working groups, and we're very pleased with the progress that they're making. New project proposal, one new project proposal in the last quarter, and that's the Eclipse Hawkbit project, which is going to be working on software provisioning for IoT. The project proposal was originated with Bosch, but we're obviously very happy to see other people jump in and participate. So please take a look at the proposal and let the community know what you think. In terms of outreach, it's been a busy quarter. So we did a press release announcing new releases of Cura, Californium, and Concierge. There was an IoT day at EclipseCon Europe that was very successful with over 70 attendees. We actually had to shut registration off for that because so many people wanted to join in. Also a busy quarter in terms of outreach in speaking at other conferences. So between Ian Scarrett and Benjamin Cabet and others, we got out to the IoT World Congress, Industry of Things event in Berlin, the Etsy M2M workshop, and the IEEE IoT workshop. And then also we have a virtual IoT meetup, which was a bi-weekly webinar on IoT topics. And there's over 640 people that are participating in these now. And it's a great way to keep tabs on what's going on in IoT. We don't always it's not just about Eclipse IoT. There are other participants and other topics as well. But if you're interested in learning more about IoT, it's a great event to join in on. Coming up, we have the IoT Developer Challenge. This is something that we ran last year, and it was very successful. So it's a competition encouraging developers to build IoT solutions. It doesn't have to necessarily be built on Eclipse IoT, but it does have to be based on open source and open standards. We had 87 applicants, which is up from 60 last year. And we just announced, I think it was 15 finalists who we're actually going to be funding them to go buy some hardware and produce final solutions for February 26th. So thanks very much to the companies who are helping sponsor this: Eurotech, BitReactive, Red Hat, and Zolertia. So really appreciate the support, and it's great to see this developer challenge off to a great start again this year. Actually, Andrew, do you want to talk about location tech?
Sure. So hey everybody, it's Andre Ross again. I'll talk about location tech. So for those who don't know, this is the Eclipse Foundation's geospatial working group, so it's doing location-aware technologies. Some big news. So Sensor Up and Steve Liang and the group in Calgary joined, which is really great. Welcome to them. We're also really excited to announce that Red Hat has joined. So Red Hat has joined as a strategic member of Location Tech with Jason Colloway as the member representative for that. So that's very exciting news. We've had another project come in. GeoBench is a geospatial database benchmark suite. So GeoBench is our 16th project, so Location Tech continues to grow both in terms of technologies and members, which is exciting. Many of you who will watch this later will be remember that FedGeo Day 2015 in Washington, D.C. was a great success. So that was basically an event aimed at the federal agencies in the D.C. area and exposing them to new open source technologies, helping them brush up on existing technologies that they're using, and it was a very great event, well attended. The conversations there were outstanding. As well, in terms of outreach, we just are wrapping up the 2015 tour. So a shout out to the team in Madrid who are running an event in a couple hours. So that's our last tour event of the year. And it looks very well attended with great speakers from CarterDB and Boundless, the QGIS project, Globe3 Mobile, and the Mobile Map Technology Project. So it's nice to see that blossom and develop. The group in Madrid are a lot of fun. I'll also talk about the science working group. So this is the working group at the Eclipse Foundation that's focusing on software used for scientific research. So it's got quite a wide breadth of technology, everything from nuclear reactor simulation to Diamond Light Source, for example, has a really interesting science facility in the UK that's doing analysis of various substances and use the technology, the Dawnside project, as a basis for that. So we had a number of meetings co-hosted with EclipseCon Europe that were very well attended. It was actually nice to see some new faces as well as some of the existing faces and participants in the group. The feedback was very good. We're actually closing in on an architecture in which we can collaborate across some of the technology projects that are hosted by the Science Working Group. We're also hosting a science track at EclipseCon North America in March next year. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And we have a new project, the Eclipse Advanced Visualization Project, that is basically a number of features and capabilities for visualizing data. So it's exciting to see that come in. And that's it for me. I'll let Mike talk about the PolarSys working group.
All right. So PolarSys is our group that's focused on development tools for embedded systems, in particular large-scale embedded systems. It's been pretty active. Recently, Eclipse had a strong presence at EclipseCon Europe and participated in the IoT Playground. Coming up, there's two events in in the first quarter of 2016, ERTSS in Toulouse in January, which will have a Polarisys Village with a number of different participating companies involved. And in the Embedded World Conference, which is a pretty big, not pretty big, a very big conference in Nuremberg every year, we'll also be talking about Polarisys with Avail and CEA as exhibitors in the Eclipse Village. So lots of great things going on there. In terms of some major project news, the Papyrus Runtime shipped its first public release. And so this is based on the Room methodology, and they've been working on this kind of technology for a great number of years, and great to see it actually starting to take shape in open source. The eGarrett project to provide Garrett access from the Eclipse IDE did their first preview release, so making great progress there. We have another new project called the Eclipse Safety Framework coming to Polarisys, so pretty excited about that. And a new proposal for Open Cert, where Cert in this case talks about certification. It's for a new project, so a proposal for new methods and tools so you can do process assurance and certification of safety critical systems, and do that using an open source tool chain. In other news related to governance, the group just published an update to their working group charter. So a couple of key changes there is the addition of Polarisys Solutions as one of their focal areas, the creation of industry consortia, which we're going to be talking about in just a second, and then also creating a Polarisys enhancement process to look forward to doing some co-funding of developments on Polarisys projects. And now we can talk about the Papyrus Industry Consortium, which I think is a really exciting new venture coming out of Polarisys. So this is part of the overall Polarisys group, but providing particular focus on enhancing and evolving the Papyrus family of technologies around modeling tools. So led by Ericsson, CA List, and Saab, and with 17 other interested companies talking about also joining in. Their charter is published and is available on the website. We have letters of intent signed by potential members, and the goal is to spin this up in the first quarter of next year. So if you have any interest in this, please feel free to contact either Gail Blondell or Francis Bordelot of Ericsson for more information. Right, looking forward to conferences, and actually since Paul is running our conferences these days, I'm going to turn this back over to him.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'll do a quick run through of all the conferences, starting with the EclipseCon Europe that we just ran in November, early November in Ludwigsburg. The conference was a tremendous success. The feedback on it overall was fantastic. You've heard Mike and Andrea speak about the working groups leveraging the get-together as a way to have the groups meet, which was fantastic. Overall, we did 7 tutorials and 137 standard talks, along with a number of BOPs and so on. So overall, there was a great material and a great place for people to meet. Just a few notes to make about it. The 3 keynotes that were delivered by Bosch, one by Bosch, one by BMW, and the third on the swarming bots, were all very well received and are now all available on the YouTube channel. So if you didn't get a chance to attend and you're interested in them, you can certainly view them, and it's well worth your time. The theme days we already talked about. The other thing of note was the hackathon. So we changed the format of the hackathon, and I'll thank Wayne, since he's sitting here, for the effort that went into that with he and the team. But overall, the hackathon was well received, and we think it adds an awful lot of value. I'll speak to it more because we're going to use the same format for the upcoming EclipseCon in North America. But the mentor meetup, the IoT playground, all of those things led to what was really, I think, a tremendous conference. So I've noted here, if you want to put on your calendar, that next year we're going to be doing this the last week of October 24th through 27th, in the same location. So by all means, put it on your calendar. Looking ahead to EclipseCon North America, it's scheduled for March 7th through 10th in Reston, Virginia. This is the location that we were at back in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, and it was well received at that time. So we're pleased to be going back there. We'll be announcing the program. The call for papers is now closed, and the program committee is beavering away on those proposals, and we'll have the final program announced early the week after next. But the program itself has expanded from last year, so we've added some tracks and topics. Specific things that we're focusing on are the IDEs, Java 9, embedded systems, and then we have dedicated tracks to, as Andrea mentioned, to science. And the IoT, we're actually expanding beyond just a day. There's just, with the growing interest, we're actually going to have tutorials and a full couple of days with IoT talks. So it's nice to see the growth in the interest there, and we're working to accommodate. So for those of you interested in that topic, it is, I think, a great place for you to be. The other area that we're working on is to expand the hackathon. And the idea here is to, rather than just make it a general session, we're actually trying to schedule specific office hours where we're focusing on particular topics with experts on that topic being available. So look for details on the conference website with respect to the hackathon. But we think it's one of the things that actually makes it become a great place for committers and adopters to actually meet and share. So we have some things that we're doing to reach out to newcomers, but we're really looking to have it be the place for folks who are engaged in the community to come and meet face to face with everyone. The other thing, and I should have mentioned it, I didn't have it on the slide with ECE, but is a shout out to all of our sponsors. These conferences don't happen without the sponsorship from our members. And so, we certainly look to you we thank you for your past support, and look for you to sponsor the conferences on an ongoing basis. And the information for that is on the website. Just a very quick note about a couple of upcoming conferences. So the FOSS4G conference in North America this year is scheduled for Raleigh in the first week of May. So that's of particular interest to our Location Tech members, but others may also be interested in some of the things that are going on there. So it looks like a very strong program, and again, that program is expanding from what we've done in years gone by as well. And then just a quick note to mark on your calendar that we're returning to France again this year. This will be our 4th year that we run the conference in France on June 7th through 9th. So that's 2 weeks earlier than we did it last year. And again, the conference last year was a tremendous success. So we're looking to see growth there as well.
All right, and with that, we'll turn it over to Wayne Beaton.
Awesome. I always love coming between my audience and lunch. Anyway, so we have some tentative dates for NEON, those projects that are participating in the simultaneous release. I've listed them here. I've listed these as tentative. I'm still, I'm confident in these dates, but we need a little bit longer to just make sure that they're appropriate for the IP team. I've got some URLs on this page if you're interested in information about NEON. The December 18th opt-in deadline is coming up quickly, so if you are listening to this message and you have not yet opted in for project participation in the simultaneous release, please do so. The explicit opt-in has actually been very valuable to me in particular over the years, because it proves that you're listening on the channels that you need to be listening on. If you are participating in the simultaneous release, you need to have at least one project team member subscribe to the cross-project issues dev mailing list. With the board of directors approved some changes that we've made to the Eclipse development process. I actually talked about these during the last members meeting, so I won't labor them too much. We did, the one I do want to focus some attention on today, though, is we've changed the mentoring requirements, where once we required 2 mentors, we now have a requirement for 1. We're augmenting that 1 mentor, though, with what I think is a much more useful resource than a second mentor, which is all of the mentors. So we created this new incubation at eclipse.org mailing list. And the intent of this list is to provide a place where project team members who are in the incubation phase and have questions about how to do things at Eclipse can ask them on that mailing list. And we've already got most of the active members of the Architecture Council have now signed up to participate in that list. The list is opt-in. We're strongly encouraging new projects to join. And like I said, we do have a very good list of experienced mentors there to help with questions. Now, of course, questions, the primary intent is questions with focus on the Eclipse development process. But if there's other questions, even technology-based questions, I'm sure the Architecture Council would love to hear about those. We recently enabled GitHub issues for some projects. The requirement is that if you're hosting your project code in a GitHub repository and you have approval from your PMC, you can use GitHub issues. The vehicle that we'd like you to use to request this access is to open up a bug against community GitHub, so that our webmaster team can first off know about the request and track the progress of it. PMC approval just with a +1 on the bug would be great. So we're in the process right now of enabling the GitHub issues. We still have a to-do to figure out how we want them to be used, or how we need them to be used to conform with the various policies. But go ahead and start using it, and we'll figure that out as we move along. The other thing is the webmaster team needs to, they're starting next quarter, they will be capturing a periodic snapshot of those issues, so that we do have the freedom of action. Should we have to move off of GitHub for whatever reason, we will have that ability. Decided to throw some charts in this time, just because I think some of these are pretty positive things. The contributions that we receive across all of our project space continues to increase. I think this trend line is pretty linear. This is just active contributors. We define a contributor as somebody who is not an official project committer, contributing a Git commit. And of course the commit has to have been accepted. So these are accepted. This is a trend of accepted, of people contributing accepted commits. Again, I think it shows a very positive trend, and shows that we are continuing to grow in diversity, and the policies that we've put in place regarding social coding, I believe, are a main driver behind this. But I'd, again, also another chart show some kudos to some projects that are the tops at accepting contributions from non-committers. Eclipse Scout and Stardust are at the top of this. Xtext does a great job, of course. The full list is there. Again, these projects are taking in contributions from non-committers. What I will probably start doing in the new year is start wondering why these projects aren't encouraging these projects. Maybe I'll put a more positive spin, encouraging these projects to make some of these contributors into committers, because some of these are serial contributors. Paul already talked about this. I just want to labor it a little bit longer because it was important to me. I think the hackathon at EclipseCon Europe was very successful, and we've learned a few lessons from that as well, and I think we can make it even more so. The interactions that I saw during the hackathon between Eclipse committers talking to other Eclipse committers, I thought was awesome. Eclipse committers talking to adopters and other just people who wanted to do some work with Eclipse. We wound up with a healthy number, I can't remember the exact number, of contributions that were actually accepted, a lot of patches. It was a great experience that I think brings a lot of value to the Eclipse community, and I look forward to your participation in the hackathon that we run at EclipseCon in North America. Just a reminder, we generally run reviews on the first and third Wednesdays of each month. This really means that we end our review periods. Reviews need to be at least a week. We end them on the first and third Wednesdays of each month, so try and incorporate that into your planning. We do require, that you submit your IP log at least 2 weeks in advance so that the IP team can review it. Bear in mind that this is more of an IP log checkpoint than a requirement that the IP log be a absolute perfect reflection of all of the intellectual property that's in the actual release bits. So you don't have to worry about resubmitting a log if you've made changes following approval. And also that we require PMC approval at least 2 weeks in advance. Give your PMC a chance to review your material. Many of our PMC members do take some care to actually review the documentation and take a quick look at the project and sort of gauge their status. So please give your PMC the time that they need to do that so that we can avoid disappointing anybody timing wise. With that, I am done. Thank you.
Everyone will use the usual protocol. If you have a question, you can post it on Twitter with the Eclipse hashtag, or you can email me, andrea.ross@eclipse.org, or post it in the IRC channel if you happen to be there. I'm just going to give it about a moment or two and see if anybody has any questions. If you have questions after the member meeting and after you watch the video, you can actually post in YouTube. And post the question there. I monitor that, and I'll relay the question to the appropriate person. So let me just take a quick scan to see if anybody's asking any questions. I don't see any in Twitter at the moment. I'm just going to take a quick check. Look in RFC. I don't see any questions there, and I'm just going to refresh my email, and if not, we'll take it to comments on the video. Okay, it looks like we're good for now. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Wayne. And we'll see you guys in a couple of months. I do hope you check out the websites for the conferences. So EclipseCon North America in March, Philosophy North America in May, and hope to see you soon.
Great. Thanks, everybody. Happy holidays.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you.
Done.